Hello, hello, and welcome back to Reverse 1999. So I want to start off. Yeah. I want to start off by saying, oh, hello, not you, Aleph. Yeah, hey, Moldir. Good news. Yeah, let's just wait for that drop off. We've got, come on. We've got, where is she? Paper Heron, finally.
Oh, it's you.
I got her right before I started recording, actually. And yeah, next thing we want is Junyanzu, so I can finally get all the limited characters. She's the only one I don't have, so it'd be kind of cool if we have all of them, right? So yeah, without anything else, we do have one thing going on. I'm not sure if I'll do the pre-storm protocol thing or not. Maybe I'll just record it without any commentary. Mostly just normal stuff, right? Anyways, right now what we do have is the song once heard, Getian's Anecdote. So without anything else, how about we get started in this one, shall we? A story told by candlelight. It's one of these, huh? Alright. For those who master the arts of music, humanity has no shortage of praise. One special exaggerated claim goes as follows. When the most skillful musician performs, even phoenixes will land gracefully upon his shoulders. Fragments of quiet conversation are swallowed by the darkness. Fortunately, there is still a single candle. We are unknown. Under the dim glow, the storyteller's face slowly comes into view. In every way, he's an ordinary young man. The flickering flame reflects in his eyes. There are far too many humans like him in this world. Yep, sorry. Some grow accustomed to lies, others hold loyalty to their creed. At times they prize their own lives above all else. At others they sacrifice them for reasons unknown to anyone. They're truly inscrutable. Once upon a time, there was an incredibly gifted Getian player. One spring, he sat alone beneath a parasol tree and played a newly composed piece. It was his life's proudest works, only it lacked a proper ending. The listener seems unimpressed. Noticing this, the musician clears his throat and unconsciously drops a hand to his side. A moment later, as if touching something reassuring, he speaks again. When the piece ended, the Getian player looked up and saw a bird-like immortal with a human head standing before him. "Why do you stop playing?" he asked. The Getian player replied, "This is as much as I've written. I'm not sure how to continue." "Then allow me to complete it," the immortal said, "and together we shall create an unrivaled score, with the likes of which the world has never seen." The candlelight is too dim to reveal the listener's face, but the musician does see a finger idly tracing circles on the tabletop. Another cliched story, another tale of a frustrated human yearning for the unreachable, hoping for the day an immortal might lower their gaze upon them. How laughable, how dull. I can prove it to you. Perhaps this time it will be different. A faint rustling sound. He places something from his side onto the table and slowly pushes it to the candlelight. It's a Getian. An aged Getian covered in fine cracks. The lacquer is old, but under the light it holds a shine that can only become from years spent in careful hands. Its strings tremble faintly, as if unfinished melody still breathes within them. The musician then slides over a small knife. The listener accepts it absentmindedly, turning it over in his hand. A rather fine Getian maker. Yeah? Okay. Try cutting the strings. The listener taps the top of the table with the knife handle in response. He extends his hand. The blade pauses on the strings. Flick. Then a slash. Okay, that was weird. Utterly unexpected. A soft gasp leaves his lips as he leans for a closer look. The strings are no ordinary black silk. Their hue is a pale blue-gray, with a texture resembling feathers. They shine with a faintly silvery light in the candle glow. The immortal and the Getian player became fast friends. Admiring his new companion's talents, the immortal stayed in the human world. Using his arcane skill, he altered the bones of the Getian player, along with his fate. From then on, the Getian player's life flowed with smoothly as a stream, and his name spread far and wide. Altering one's fate through the changing of bones, the listener straightens up. He has heard of such outlandish rumors before. Perhaps there is some truth behind them after all. Here, before your very eyes, are strings fashioned from the feathers of the immortal. The listener waits for him to continue. A divine bird descended from a mountain, a gifted human, a reshaping of destiny. It's a good story. The musician might be been the one who he's looking for, but is he good enough? Can this talent capture the attention of a divine bird? Under his audience, curious scrutiny, the musician takes a deep breath. It's not the first time he has told the legend of the Miamen, and it is not likely to be the last. The Getian player in that story was my ancestor. Okay. There is... Ooh, 10 stages. That's new. And 2 endings. Okay, there's a lot of stages in this one, huh? Alright, 2. Like old friends. And a narrow mountain path. The rain does not stop until nightfall. The dark cloud disperses, and the moon takes the quiet ascent. In its light, a single drop of dew slices down a slender leaf, itching its way towards the tip. This is the place. The Ming-Man draws its wings and lands in a clearing halfway up the mountain. Last year's fallen leaves are soaked with dew. The new grass beneath it is yet to grow. Is yet to grow in. It is soft as a blanket. Across the path is a shabby hut. Is right ahead. A plain, low, thatched hut with a few slabs of blue stone weighing down its ridges of its roof. It belongs to one of Getian's kin, who descended the mountains before the two ever met, never to return. Now it has been made home of a human musician who wandered into the mountains by chance. With a lift of his wings, his bone staff floats lightly in the air and tops the door. Above the last pitiful dregs of firewood, the musician sprinkles the crusted tea leaves into the water drawn from a mountain stream. Even though the water only boiled once, the flame in the small clay stone slowly dims. He sighs and places down a pair of ceramic cups he fished out from the corner. They're charmingly antique, not recently made. He fills them up with tea. A cup is pushed towards the visitor. Thank you. The Ming-Man does not drink tea. He extends a wing and pulls the cup closer. On a chilly spring night, the touch of warm water has a way of settling the heart. The aroma of this tea seems different from before. The musician notes the tea is set aside and sits down across from Getian. Though you live in the mountains, you still seem far more familiar with the lands below than I expect. Okay, I'm guessing this is where they alter the things, right? Okay, I think it's just what goes on below. Getian takes a cautious sniff of the tea before nudging it away. I take little interest in what goes down below. But my kin left behind many records that have some small knowledge. Due to the decision, you've grown more confused, okay? The Ming-Man shakes his head and changes the subject. Has your instrument been repaired? Following his gaze, the musician looks at the plain Gujing at his side and gently presses the hand against the strings. There's no materials in the mountain. I'll have to wait. A lamentable shame. I had hoped to play something for you. Pay no mind. Your bones have healed well. I dare say your departure from this mountain is approaching. Yes. He stares absently at the wavering candlelight. Crack. In the silence, the lonely wick flickers and crackles. The faint sound startles the musician, returning him from his momentary stupor. He immediately smiles upon and turns towards Getian. I've imposed for too long. Should I say longer, I fear I'd be overstepping. The mountains are pleasant, but they are not where I belong. When I arrived, the river was still frozen, but spring was likely arrived below by now, and the flowers along the paling river should be in bloom. If I leave now and catch the east wind along the river, I might still make it back before summer, perhaps even in time to ask a woodcutter for a fine piece of parasol wood. And what of your search for the legendary score? Will it continue? The musician shakes his head. This candlelight is far too dim. Would you mind brightening up a little? That's better, thank you. He glances at the candle, quickly looks away, and then smiles more at the Ming-Man. The score. Ah, yes. That's why I came into the mountains. The day you saved me, I watched the sky grow darker and darker. I heard a howling of wolves around me. With a broken leg and my instrument clutched in my hands, all I could do was sit beneath a tree. Even then, my thoughts were fixed on the legendary score. Even if the wolves came to tear me apart, I'd hoped I'd spared my hand so that I might at least continue to play. Oh, how I wished for an immortal to descend from the heavens at that time, like your kin who once gifted my ancestors that score. The humans, the Miamang, might as well be immortals. Arcanists with human faces and bird bodies that dwell in the mountains no ordinary mortal can reach, blessed with long lives. That truly awes and tempts is their ability to alter one's bones, and with it, one's fate. There is no need to name us as such. Miamen are no different from humans. We too will one day fade away. But to me, this truly is a blessing of an immortal. In the candlelight, the musician spreads his hands. His fingertips and palms are thick with calluses. Though I've never found the score, these hands were spared. That alone is thanks to you. The Mia man gives an easy shake of his feathers. Fine. Call it what you will. The musician smiles at Getian. But now that I think of it, after searching for so long, the score's probably not in the mountains, or perhaps I simply cannot. I'm destined to find it. Such things can't be forced. Besides, I've already met an immortal in this journey, just as my ancestors once did. When I return and compose a new piece, who knows? I might be even greater than that one. The mere man fixed in silence, his talons slightly tapping the ground. You have made up your mind, so be it. But the path is dangerous at night. Come dawn, I will say you down the mountain. However, there's still one place amidst those peaks that may hold clues about the score. Since you will leave tomorrow, perhaps you might find some tonight and see for yourself. Okay. Perhaps some tremors will linger in the mountains through the gathering of a melody. Short tunes fragmented certain scores. Okay. Spend points to unlock fragments. Every note is worth a different number of points. Fill the fragments with notes. The fragments unlock when you accumulate a required number of points. Tap notes. Oh, okay, I see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. Okay, La Mission. Alright. Oh, that was literally just that. Okay, that was interesting. Yep. On this early spring night, in which the ice and snow have already melted, but new greenery is yet to grow, it is quiet and lonely. The musician carries his Gushin on his back, following Getian along the mountain path towards the temple. From afar, they look like two strings of duckweed drifting in a boundless sea. Records of the Miamian clan's history since their arrival at the Central Plains are kept in the Temple of Getian. In an archived copy of the lost scores still exists somewhere in the mountains. It might as well be there. The candlelight is barely bright enough to illuminate the ground beneath their feet. Even with the Miamiang leading the way, the musician looks somewhat ragged, the night dew soaking his sleeves as he pushes through the waist-high grass. When Getian stops once again to wait, the musician speaks up, apologizing.
I'm sorry.
You saved my life, for which I'm already deeply grateful. And now I'm causing you even more trouble. It isn't right for me to put you through this much. Saving others is but a simple gesture. I never thought to ask anything in return. But you shared something with me. I never expected. By that logic, it is I who owe you. Something you never expected. The musician ponders for a moment, then taps his head in realization. Oh, your kin who once dealt with my ancestors. After all these years, you still remember him. I suppose you were close.
No.
Not really. Then at least old acquaintances.
No, never.
You can't mean you were complete strangers. The meme man gives a slight nod. We never met. Well, Getian extends a wing, brushing aside a clump of white cogon glass blocking the musician's path. I'm simply curious why he, or rather they, descended the mountains. I have read every word or every record in the temple, yet found nothing in the answers I seek. The meme man tilts his head towards him. You come from the lands below. I'd like to hear your answer. I see. The musician suddenly understands. After you mentioned it last time, I give it some more thought. To a Miamian, centuries may pass in the blink of an eye. Even the world down below has changed beyond recognition. After so many years of retelling, the details of the story are bound to become unclear. After what I've shared is all I've heard. As for many further details, I truly don't know.
At least...
Still, from the perspective of those below, what the story describes does make sense. He pants as he climbs under a stretch of steps. Humans, they differ in temperament and appearance. But in the end, everyone living in this world wants for something that never changes. Some seek power, some seek wealth, some seek generational fame, others seek everlasting glory. And of course, some seek a peerless score. I can't help but smile, he can't help but smile pointing at himself. I risked my life climbing the mountain for it. And if your kin truly lingered in the human world for the same reason, that would be understandable. Of course, it's just a superficial view of a mere mortal such as myself. And you, I mean, immortals, do they also have things they seek? This time, the mere man does not correct his choice of words. Very well. Since you've spoken frankly in your own manners, I shall be truthful with you about my concerns. The missionary lifts his head to look at him. The moonlight casts its silver glow on the Miamin's face, lost in thought. Like humans, Miamins develop different position over the years. The last Miamin to descend the mountain in memory. Some were quiet and reserved. One had his favorite Cathor tree, or on moonlight nights, Getian would see him standing silently on the highest branch, wings outstretched. Getian assumed he likely wouldn't leave. And those who were excessively curious, I knew he would bring back all manner of human oddities from the lands below. Oddities that would enrapture him day and night. Passing by his dwelling, Getian had thought to himself sooner or later. And some Yemiam were mischievous and fond of pranks. One such bird loved to laugh. Getian can't recall his face, but his cackling when he startled his kin by suddenly flying from below a cliff. Later, they all descended the mountain, never to return. All I recovered were their bones that gave me no answers. I heard I've heard of where they went after leaving the mountains, who they met, and the places they passed, but the mere man hesitates, his feathers trembling lightly. I still do not know why they left. That doesn't sound completely unsolvable, though. The musician pushes aside a clump of mugwort and takes a deep breath. He smiles at the Getian. Life in the mountains may be peaceful, but your kin must have longed for something important deep in their hearts, important enough to give up their longevity. Longevity. For those below the mountain is often a pursuit, but your kind is merely a bargaining chip to be exchanged. In lands below, some work to preserve life through any means, no matter how shameful, yet there are those willing to sacrifice themselves for something greater. As for what that something is, the musician thinks it over again and again, and then shakes his head.
I'm not sure that.
Well, I am but a human from below. I can't possibly grasp how the Mimings in the mountains think. He adjusts the Qjing on his back. The instrument is nearly too heavy for him to carry. Fortunately, the temple is just up ahead. Okay. 5. We're halfway there. Some fragments already have existing notes. Existing notes cannot be removed, but they can count towards the points. Okay. This one is La. This one is Re. And this one is Re again. Okay. The old... oh, they're going up the mountain. I see. That's the their progress. That's interesting. The old tree in the yard. So this is the temple of the Mimiangs. Seeing the light candle before him, the musician pauses. I see this place is not quite what I had in mind. What you had in mind. The musician carefully steps around the layers of paper hung like drapes, almost tripping against the scattering scrolls strewn about the ground. Well, I must say, this is nothing like anything I've ever seen before. He notices a bone beneath the papers and is unable to hold back his question. This is the remains of your kin. The Mimian steps further into the temple, not looking back.
Exactly.
It is a custom of the mountains. Handling them this way feels somewhat irreverent. The Mimian's voice comes up from ahead. They are gone, but flesh and bone. Why fuss over it? His voice pauses, tinged with curiosity. Your concern tells me it is different from the lands below. How does your kin treat the dead? Well, we also have temples in them. We gather the remains of the deceased, assess their deeds in life, and enshrine them. How do you assess one's deeds? The musician freezes again, unsure how to answer. How do we assess deeds? By whenever they benefit others, or whenever they serve only their own aspirations? But can anyone but oneself truly know the nature of one's aspirations? How could one possibly judge such a thing? On one such night, in this place, the Miming's voice sounds eerily calm, echoing as if both near and far. This is precisely what troubles me. By your account, those who descend in the mountains must have chosen to pursue their own aspirations. But how were we ever to confirm the purpose of their lives? On what basis? Basis? Now I really don't understand what you mean. Getian walks back a few steps, gesturing for his companion to look into this direction. On the way here, I told you of 3 of my kin. There was a scattered pile of bones. Getian picks one up for perfecting principles, and then a second one for humans' joy and sorrow, and the final 3rd bone for the injustice of the world. The Mimin gazes at them in thought. Remarkable aspirations indeed, nothing like the ordinary immortals. The musician murmurs, perhaps, but now it's all for a moment from the past. They have all returned here, silent and still. If they had foreseen such an ending, would they still have made the same choices? You said you were willing to die for a score. To me, that notion is no different from that of my kin. I'm curious how you came to your choice. So that's how you see it. To give everything one's purpose in life is indeed a difficult thing to choose, and yet, to have the choice itself may be a blessing. In the mortal world, countless people live without freedom of choice. As he gives this vague reply, his gaze drifts absent-mindedly to the window. The moon is begun to sink westward, and the sky has shifted from a shade of deep ink black to dark blue. Dawn is still some time away. He withdraws his gaze, clears his throat, and changes the subject. How are you to find clues about score among all the scrolls and bones? I can't imagine we'll come up with such much of anything.
That's no matter.
There's no need to worry. Just play something. What? Please. Your ancestor bonded with the Mimings through music. If any clues remain, here they will respond. A mountain wind blows into the temple, causing the hanging papers to rustle. The musician reaches out to hold the scroll that is almost blown away, offering an apologetic smile to his friend. I'm afraid the damage my instrument suffered in the mountains hasn't been repaired yet. The Miming thinks for a moment. I believe they can be resolved. I do not know what your instrument is made of, but whatever you need ought to be here in the temple. The gentle smile on his face slowly fades. The Miming lowers his head and studying the magician's eyes. The wind flickers the candlelight, casting a musician's face into shifting shadows. After a moment he lowers his head and sighs. He unfastens the queen and throws it to the ground, and lands with a heavy thud. Please believe me, I have no ill intent. Okay. That was definitely an odd choice. Why would he throw the thing, right? Oh, we got his thing already, that's nice. Echoes from the mountains. Oh, okay, we have to do the puzzle now, okay. Let's see. Let's go for soul. Yeah, that one is 5, so we can go soul. Let's go for this one, that's more, and then we can go for me. There we go. This one already has 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, meaning la. Yeah, the same one as that one. Then do here, and then re here. Okay. He who has gone astray. In the dim light, the musician's hands clenched and loosened. I'm not the descendant of any great master, I'm simply the son of a cuisine maker. My family made a living this way for generations. But I'm a fraud. At times the musician recalls the desolate gate of his hometown. As the bamboo leaves the parasol woods, similar memories are scattered away like wood shavings. Okay, so he's not an actual grand musician, I guess. Under the shaded eaves, his father once told him the tale of their ancestor meeting a divine bird, and so he said he wished to learn how to play the gujin. His father laughed and gently stroked his hair. He did indeed have hands suited for the strings. Back then, they called him Little Phoenix, and he was doted on like a beloved princeling. But his father left far too early. All that truly remained for him were a few absurd stories, ambitions with no clear direction, and a parasol kujing missing its strings. As you can see, I can't really play the instrument, not properly. I know the materials of strings and soundboards well enough, but I've never had the chance to spend much time learning to use them. The young frog took stock on all he owed. The story was well prepared, and the parasol was a rare piece of fine wood. All that was missing was a miracle people could believe in. The musician found a Western merchant who sold arcane materials and discovered that miracles were cheaper than he thought. Oof. fireproof cloth, a mane of the vine steed, and silk as tough as jade. And the cuisine was complete. One so beautiful it almost looked as if it were really made from the divine bird's tail feathers. Ah, okay, so that's what it was, huh? I left the village like that, and the gujin slung over my shoulders, and the maker's knife my father left me strapped to my waist. The Mimians, a little surprised but did not interrupt. There's always people willing to pay the hefty price to glorify their households with stirring legends. So the story was retold from his lips 1,000 times, polished into something extraordinary and complete. And yet, their instrument has remained forever silent. An immortal's blessing, a peerless score, a prodigious young musician. Nights filled with hesitation, a child like a drifting tumbleweed, worried, tangled, and knotted like rope. A story that changes outwards on a real life. The musicians can only have one of them. On many nights, he dreams of the past. When he wakes, phantom strings tremble softly, sadly, beside his pillow, a reminder of what they were still waiting. Perhaps one day they will finally give in, reach out and toss those strings that do not truly belong to him. Sometimes I think about how wonderful it would be if divine birds truly existed, if I really were a man favored by an immortal. Getian lowers his gaze slightly. Birds that can change a person's fate do indeed exist, yet, for miming, this is a melody that can only be played and cherished once. Then, someone actually believed the story. They forced me to climb the mountain and find a miming for them. I see. When I first met you, I saw your bones that you were hiding something. Now it is clear.
I'm sorry.
I don't know. I didn't want it to be like this. I had no other choice. He stammered as he explains. I never truly harbored any malicious intent. The meme lowers his head to meet his gaze. The musician's voice grows quieter. I was conflicted. I do not know how to repay kindness with betrayal, which is why I asked to go down the mountain. I was afraid that I stayed any longer, but I'd be having thoughts that I shouldn't have. Please, let me go down the mountain. I won't come back, and I won't tell a soul why I ever met you. Very well. At last, the miming calmly looks away. In the end, you never truly acted on your falsehood. You're not angry. Those below the mountains are all much the same, tossed about and certain. There is little that is fixed. I saw how you would choose. Besides, what you just spoke was not entirely a fabrication, although perhaps you did not realize it. He lays his wings over the body of the Gujin, falls silent for a moment, and begins another story. Long ago, there was truly such a miming. A wisp of pale smoke slowly rises. A tune that lingers. In times long ago, so long that his kin still lived in the frontier, human cities had yet to appear in the central plains, and powerful humans in Arcanus still walked the world, not yet reduced to legend. The Getians, the miming clan, created the first song and dance. Music of the Getian comprises 8 songs: Carry the People, The Swallow, Nourish the Green, Raise the 5 Grains, Honor the Way, Exalt the Divine, Trust the Earth Virtue, and Bring all things to fullness. From that point on, countless miming bore the gift of music. Among them, there was one who was especially intoxicated by rhythm. He lost himself in the music rarely associated with his kin. Time in the mountain is long and without seasons. I could not tell you when he left. To a miming, 1,000 years pass in a moment. No matter. The miming sang softly. For such a lifespan as this, 1,000 years in a single moment were not the same. To me, it is the same. Until one day, convinced he had learned every score the mountain could offer, he ventured down alone to see whether human music could help any work. He must have been disappointed. The music says quietly.
Exactly.
Yes, he was disappointed. A human lifespan, barely 100 years, strips away the days of ignorant youth and a helpless old age. All that remains is truly fleeting decades. With that time, one could still endure the difficulties of worldly affairs and endless hardships, struggling simply to survive. Time can truly be devoted to oneself is scarce. Even if one pours their entire life into music, it can never be compared to the mimings with their incredible lifespan. This is what life down below is like, and the seasons press on, life only grows harder. The miming pauses as if gathering his thoughts. He went many places and saw all manner of people. Bustling markets. 2 masters of the age agreed on a musical duel in the city walls with their pipers drawing a great crowd. The sun was earth-shattering, sky-rending indeed, yet the Miming remained bored, believing that something was still missing. Banquets of princes and nobles. Amid the rush of dignitaries and drawn curtains, the tinkling of crystal and pearls filled the air. On the rooftop not far away, the Miming watched with tilted head. A man in a tall brown crown rose from his seat, bowed deeply, then lifted his head and played the guzhin, less song or soliloquy of grievances. When the melody properly began, an uproar broke out among the guests. Someone drew a sword, another turned away with a heavy sigh. Before the turmoil reached him, he turned and left. This was the poise of scholars, not the devotions of a musician. And households where music was passed down through both instrument and song. The Miming recalled towering in a courtyard tree, his arm span thick, much like the one near his mountain dwellings. It was a lonely courtyard filled with the scent of herbs. Its owner often sat there holding a kujin and moving until the moon sank into the west. The Miming heard the owner's faint sigh, but a pity, so brief after all. He thought, if heaven had granted him her 30 more years, perhaps things would have been different. And at the first light, where he left the verdant courtyard behind. Oh, nice fire effect. A light breeze passes the candle flame suddenly wavers, bringing the musician back to his senses. You mean he never altered a human's bones? He murmurs. Of course, immortals have their own affairs. Why would they concern themselves? Of course, immortals have their own affairs. Why would they concern themselves with the lives of mortals?
No.
That was not the case. Years later, the Miming resolved to return to the mountains, feeling his worldly travels were finished, only to encounter a torrential downpour that covered the land in darkness and turned plains into rivers. So he stayed one day longer. The next morning, beneath a parasol tree, the Miming met a young man in passing. He heard a short tune he had never heard before. The melody was free and wild, hardly a proper composition, yet it brought tears to his eyes. Unable to resist, the Miming stepped forward and spoke with him. The youth humbly said he had no talent for music and simply enjoyed plucking the strings for amusement during idle moments. He asked the young man's background and learned that he was a local gujin maker. A gujin maker? A gujin maker? He repeats it twice under his breath, then suddenly stands up. In that the case, then, how it is I've never heard of a great musician among my ancestors? If a Miming truly altered his fate, why are we, generations after generations, done nothing but make gujins? Because it was just a simple tune, utterly unremarkable. Utterly unremarkable. The Miming couldn't help but drink in the phrase himself. What moment moved him was, in fact, something utterly unremarkable. There was an earth-shaking event that followed. The young man who played the Gujing was destined to die young, so the Miming merely offered him a good life. All that was his desires came true. That was all. But he still cannot believe it. The music that drew an immortal in favor was nothing more than a casual trifle he himself could produce on a whim. It was simple from the beginning. Then, what was the point of all these fabricated achievements? Getian gives no immediate answer. Instead, he lifts a wing slightly at the broken Gujing. Once treasured, now tossed away, floats in the air. Oh, is he gonna repair it? Feeling he's gonna repair it. The dust is wiped away, and is turned over, as if by an unseen hand, revealing the instrument's goose feet on the other side. Neither metal nor jade. They are made of some material that gleams with a soft luster in the candlelight. These are his bones. Oh! The Miming left his remains to his friend, who fashioned them into a gujin. In the candlelight, the musician's expression flicks and shifts. After a moment, he speaks again. I understand now. You mean there's no need to strive for absolute perfection, so as long as our hearts are sincere. Yet he looks at him quietly, never confirming nor denying it. The truth is clear to me now. The music my ancestors could play, I can play it too.
Please.
If that's the case, then I stay in the mountains. Life below is too noisy, cluttered, and distracting. I know where I went wrong now. I just want to find a quiet place to devote myself to my instrument. As I did when I was young. But your destiny is not here. Getian tells him plainly. You came from the lands below, and in the end, that's where you belong. Yes, I should have known. He takes a step back, seemingly in a daze. After a moment, he gathers the courage to speak again. But after I leave the mountain, will fortune ever bring me to you again? Perhaps not. As you can see, the path to the Miming was cut off centuries ago. They left one after another, and now, Getian shakes his head. I am the last of my kind. There is nothing down below that draws my interest, perhaps. We look at each other, silent for a time. Only now does everything finally become clear. He was never any great musician, no score unearthed in the world, and no ideal worth dying for. The young man who stubbornly chased his ideals with his place was only a petty fraud, through a harmless one at that. Dawn is about to break. The extinguished candle gives off a faint trail of bluish smoke.
Goodbye.
It's time for you to go. The Long River. A cool drop of dew falls into the musician's forehead, jolting him awake. He returns to his senses and finds he is already standing on the stone steps leading down the mountain. Behind him, the path leading is choked with weeds, unrecognizable. The miming he spoke where he is nowhere to be seen. Could it be that it was all just a dream? He feels the weight of his broken gujing still resting on his back. He stands there quietly for a while, then turns to face the lush foliage in the mountains path and begins speaking to no one in particular. I will go down and find somewhere peaceful to stay for a while. I've heard of a place called Bay City, beyond the royal authority, where both Arcanists and humans live. That is the city from Tales of oh my god, I forgot the name, but it was the Tales event, the first half anniversary. The musician pauses. From now on, I'll continue studying this instrument. Before that, though, if I have such fortune, I'd like to hear the pieces that my ancestors once played. He hesitates, holding his breath while he waits. There's only the sound of wind rustling the trees and grass. I understand. The musician murmurs as if having reached a decision. He takes the broken gujing from his back and carefully sets it on the stone steps. This instrument does not belong to me. It should return to its owner if you are willing. Unable to finish the sentence, he shakes his head and bows deeply towards an empty air. Then he straightens up and makes his descent down the mountains without looking back. The Miming's wings give a slight tremble as the newly repaired Gujin settles on the table. The fracture has been properly mended with arcane skills, leaving behind only a faint seam. It truly is a fine instrument. The maker must have been meticulous, polishing it again and again to achieve such perfection.
However,
he lifts his wings once more. The Gujing floats in the air, revealing the underside. He narrows his eyes, forcing the pair of goose feet is not perfectly aligned. Using bone for the instrument's goose feet is uncommon. Perhaps is the reason for the maker's slight flaw. Or perhaps his heart is heavy simply because they were his friends remain. He shakes his head. Regardless, I did not see the bones of the maker.
why?
And you? What did you think? Getian asks the bones. They offer no reply. Let's out an almost imperceptible sigh. Left with no answer, he uses his imagination instead. Many, many years ago, on a spring night, a Miming quietly descended the mountains, with no word to his kin. He traveled mountains that seemed endless, crossed rivers that zigzagged and intertwined, past human villages from which came barks of dogs and the crows of roosters. Like the divine bird of legend, he flew 99,000 miles. Yet he flew higher than the mountains where he must dwell, and further than the crimson clouds that toppled the peaks. Even the heaviest dew could not dampen his wings. Only when the sky darkened did he stop to rest in an ordinary parasol tree. The moon sank westward. Humans and Arcanists alike slept. The forests, the fields, the mountains, the rivers, the entire world was fast asleep. Getian ponders. What exactly tempted him to stay? Perhaps. No, surely not for mortal joy. Or perhaps, as if entering himself, he immediately denies it again. No, not even for that piece, nor the one who played it. He looks down the world below the mountain. The morning mist not yet fully dispersed, but the silken trail of the paling river has already been gliding into the sunlight as it flows into the distance towards unfamiliar towns, villages, lakes, and plains. Separated by a thin veil of mountain mist, life unfolds. Some are born, some die, some laugh, some weep. So fleeting, so hurried. Like morning dew with more days gone than to come. Perhaps that is precisely why it's worth cherishing. The thought stirs his heart, beautiful and unforgettable. After a long while, the Yemen places long, silent Gujing before him once more. The boat rocks upon the water. The musician suddenly springs to his feet and looks towards the mountains. Sir, did you hear that? Someone is playing a Gujin. With a sudden movement, a small boat lurches violently, and the boatman stumbles. Okay, sit still. Go to startling an old man like me. He clicked his tongue in annoyance and rose hard, steadying the boat. You must be hearing things. The paling river's running high today. Can't hear nothing but the water itself. The musician does not reply, his gaze fixed on the mountains. A moment later, he suddenly points ahead and shouts excitedly, No, sir. Someone really is playing a Gujin. Look at the bank over there. Even the birds have taken flight. The boatman cranes his neck to peer into the distance, then sighs. The sun's out. Of course the person looking for food. What's so strange about that? But how loud could one person's plane be anyhow? You think it reached this far, and only you hear it? Maybe it's an immortal's plane. The words slip out of him. The boatman cannot fathom what strange spell has come over the young fellow he picked up on a whim. I ain't no immortal in the world, unless you've seen one with your own eyes. He opens his mouth, then sinks back down, defeated. Loses gaze to the shimmering surface of the Paline River. It's nothing. I must have imagined it. The boatman clicks his tongue again. All this silly chatter. Just tell me where you're headed. I want to go to Bay City. Bay City? And where's that? I've been rowing more than 30 years and never heard of this place. So he's taking a different turn to your choice. The Meme-Man lays his wings over the strings and remains silent for a long time. Down below. Finally, he puts the Gujing away. The Meme-Man continues waiting an answer. Perhaps one day, he thinks. It will be another spring, another winter's night, another early ordinary day. Somewhere else, he will hear another song and stop for it. There, he will find the answer he seeks. One day, he will encounter it. One day. The end. And there he is, playing the instrument, huh? Kinda hard to, how the hell do you play with wings, but okay. Complete. And that was ending 1. Alright, let's see how we can get ending 2. I'm guessing the ending 2 we have to like do the opposite, right? Let me see. Okay, so let's see. This one should be 2. Getian cautiously inhales, fresh but with a hint of bitterness, curious. Perhaps because everyone brews it their taste, he thinks. The mimicking fairies, news from below, along with the latest tools and techniques. I must have some knowledge.
I know very little of it.
I have never ventured here before, though I can hardly claim familiarity. The Mime shakes his head and changes the subject. Has your instrument ever been repaired? Following his gaze, the musician looks to the plain Gujin at his side and gently presses a hand against the strings. There are no materials in the mountains. I will have to wait. A lamentable shame, but I hope to play something for you. Pay no mind, your bones have healed well, and they say departure from this mountain is approaching. Yes. He stares absentmindedly at the wavering candlelight. Crack. The silence. Okay, so it's the same thing. Yeah. Then we got option 2. I think it's pretty much the same thing. Option 4. We tap the candlelight. We go and put option 2, often to repair it. Getian gaze falls on the musician's Gujin. Perhaps the arcane skills can be a help. His lips move, but in the end, he only lets out another sigh. I appreciate it, but there's no need. I know how to repair a Gujin. And fasten the Gujin and throws it to the ground. Same thing. And then we go to level 6. And is option 1. It's option 1. To miming 1,000 years pass in a moment. We already saw this one, so I'm just gonna skip it. Let's put, I don't know. Then is in... Okay. Oh, that was ending 2? What? Oh, right, because it skips the other things. Right. Let's see. This is dream. By city, Mr. pauses. Can I continue to study the instrument? Like to hear the answer? He waits. There's only the sound of wind. Okay.
However,
The same thing as the other one. Yeah, it's the same ending.
Look out!
Maybe I have to do the thing again, who knows. Okay, probably. And yet, this is no illusion. A cool breeze pushes past him, beaming his wings and over the faintly fragrant strings. It's another very, very ordinary tune, hesitantly played for the first time. Okay, I guess that's literally the only difference I'm gonna guess. Huh. Okay. That was surely something. The story of a fraud musician and the last immortal, huh? Okay, it was some of these. Honestly, I don't prefer the way they do these ones here. I do prefer if they do actual, bit like the character stories. I feel like it kind of takes away the impact if they continue doing like this, right? Just plain text is definitely not as good as doing the normal, like they do for this, right? I feel like it's a bit boring. Yeah. Anyways, we got this and this as well. We've done everything for this section basically. The other thing is in 5 days we can get the in 13, yeah, basically the other showdown in Chinatown, yeah, it's gonna show up as well. Okay. So yeah, that's gonna be it for now. The next, I'm not really sure if I will do the pre-storm protocol. I may do it just recording it, maybe not. Who knows? I'll check out later. Anyways, that's gonna be it for now. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you all next time for more Reverse 1999. Ciao.